Right, just got to send someone a link. Right, just 2 more minutes and we will make a start. Okay, it's now exactly 3 o'clock or 1500 hours to use continental time, as we call it in the UK. Thank everyone for making the effort this afternoon to join us. This is the second session of the European Regional Forum for the for friendship, solidarity, and exchange with the Korean people to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the foundation of the DPRK. And we're holding this session as a 100% online. Last week, it was a hybrid meeting. We had a physical meeting in the Marchmont Centre in central London, which was quite a challenge for us to do. Was not easy. I think most of the feedback I've received about the meeting has been very positive. Now, I've put in the chat a sort of approximate speaking order. That's not sort of written in a tablet of stone. That is a guide. All I will ask, because I think I'm relatively confident that everybody who is down to speak will be able to speak in the meeting. But what I will ask is for people, if you're not speaking, please keep muted. otherwise this can disrupt the meeting, and he's also disrespectful to speakers. Now, I'm pleased that we're joined by people from a number of different countries and different organisations, including some very senior academic experts from Russia, as well as activists from KFA and other DPRK solidarity organisations. The celebrations of the 75th anniversary of the foundation of the DPRK are ongoing. Last night there was the magnificent parade of the Worker Peasant Red Guard, the militia forces of the DPRK, and today there's other events going on. And I think it's very significant. It's testimony to the superiority of the DPRK socialist system and the correctness and fatality of the Juche Idea, that the DPRK can actually hold 3 different parades this year. There was the parade for the 75th anniversary of the KPA in February, the parade for the 70th anniversary, the victory of the Fatherland Liberation War, in July, and now we have a 3rd parade, the parade of the Worker Peasant Red Guards. That's very impressive. I don't think any other country in the world can do this. So it shows that the DPRK is strong, that it's defying the sanctions of the imperialists. And yesterday we saw the launch of a nuclear tactical submarine, another great achievement of the Juche motherland. But I do not, thank you, yes. I do not wish to speak for too long, as there's lots of people going to speak, and I apologise to KFA Greece for not including them in the speaking order, but they will speak after Staffordshire KFA. So KFA Greece, please be ready to speak after Staffordshire KFA. And I'm just going to read out some of the messages of solidarity we received. Firstly, from the Korea Europe Exchange Promotion Agency, which reads as follows: Dear delegates from Friendship and Solidarity organizations with the Korean people, dear comrades and friends, the Korea Europe Cultural Exchange Promotion Agency would like to extend the warmest congratulations to all our friends and delegates for participating in the European Regional Forum for Friendship, Exchange and Solidarity with the Korean people on the occasion of the 75th founding anniversary of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, with its opening amidst the warm congratulations and keen interest from many friendship and solidarity organizations for the Korean people around the world and Europe. Particularly, we'd like to express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Dermot Hudson, Chairman of the UK Korean Friendship Association, for taking the initiative from the early start of this year in forming the European Regional Preparatory Committee to celebrate the major anniversaries of the Korean people and organising the forum with all sincerity. Our gratitude also goes to delegates from various countries for making sincere assistance to his work. The news of the European Regional Forum will give great encouragement and inspiration to all the Korean people in their energetic struggle towards the comprehensive developments of socialism, united around Comrade Kim Jong-un, President of the State Affairs of the DPRK, and will also demonstrate the victory is on the side of justice. We remain confident that through this forum, opened in reflection of the unanimous willingness of all friendship organizations around the world and Europe to celebrate this significant anniversary of the Korean people in common. Bonds and unity between the world people who love justice, progress, and friendship and peace will be further strengthened. Sincerely yours, Ryu Kyung-il, Executive Director, Korea Europe Cultural Exchange Promotion Agency. And we've also received a message from the Korean Committee for Solidarity with the World people, and also from the Korea Asia Pacific exchange, which reads as follows: Dear comrades and friends, Korea Asia Pacific Exchange, in firm belief that the European Regional Forum for Friendship and Exchange with the Korean people in celebration of the 75th founding anniversary of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is being held with success, with the active participation of dear friends of the Korean people, would like to avail itself to extend its warmest congratulations and comradely greetings from Pyongyang to all the participants. The 75 years of Juche Korea vividly proves an iron truth that even a country small in its territory and population can be independent and a powerful country and people if they are led by outstanding and great leaders. We extending our militant salute to our friend and comrades in Europe who are rendering constant support and encouragement to the Korean people in their just struggle to safeguard its dignity in the face of ever-increasing sanction, blockade, and military stifling schemes of the hostile forces, and demonstrate its profile as an independent, powerful state will be ongoing with every success. Best regards, Hwang Sung-chol, Korea Asia Pacific Exchange. And we also, so I can't read out all the messages, there won't, as it would take up a long time. We received a message from the Korea Africa Friendship Society of the DPRK, from the Korea Latin American and Caribbean Friendship Association, just to know, and the Korea Arab Friendship and Solidarity Committee of the DPRK. And we've also received congratulations, and as I say, people can look on the website from the African Committee for Friendship and Solidarity with the Korean people, headed by Comrade Damien Obona, and also from the Arab Committee for Friendship and Solidarity with the DPRK, headed by Dr. Yia Karila of Egypt. And say all those messages are on the website if people need to see them. So we will move on to the main body of the meeting, and before I sort of start the section of KFA speakers, I'd just like to give the apologies of KFA President Alejandro Caldebenos, who cannot be with us today because KFA in Catalonia, Spain, is holding its own celebration today, so he can't join us. And also from KFA UK Organisation Secretary, Comrade Alan Bollen, who helped us a lot in London last week. He cannot be here today because he is at work. Yeah, and as I say, quite a few of our KFA members, you know, are ordinary working people. But so on to the first section, and I would just read out a short message from KFA Scotland, who also could not be here because of another engagement in Wigan. And their message is a short one. The Korean Friendship Association of Scotland would like to send its warmest greetings and congratulations to the brave and inspiring Korean people on this day for their formidable achievements in both establishing People's Korea, a socialist nation free from exploitation, and steadfastly defending it for 73 years against the terrible attacks by US imperialism and its vassal forces. The Korean people maintained the DPRK's sovereignty and independence and dignity via great sacrifice and courage from the people and through outstanding leadership based on the highest ideological development. The courageous defense of their independence and sovereignty allowed the DPRK to forge its path under the Juche philosophy, fully developing the people's talents. The DPRK created a society of highest art, culture, science and technology, a socialist paradise where humans can reach their true potential. We in KFA Scotland are grateful for the brave and spirited defence the Korean people have made to safeguard the realisation of a world without exploitation. It is an inspiration to all socialists and workers to take time to learn about the struggles, victories, and philosophies of the Korean people. It is an honor to do our part in defending people's career with no ifs or buts, and to spread the vital knowledge of Juche philosophy. The Korean Friendship Association of Scotland sends its deepest wishes for continuing strength, determination, prosperity, and happiness for the people of the DPRK. Long live the DPRK, long live Juche, long live Songam politics. And that was the message of KFA Scotland. Now call upon KFA Austria to deliver their speech. Go ahead, please, comrade.
Thank you, Comrade Hudson. I would like to start with a warm thanks to all of you for joining us today. Dear friends, dear comrades, on this occasion I want to remind us all how the liberation of the fatherland came to be. Respected President Kim Il-sung was a brave guerrilla fighter since the early years of his life. He dedicated his life to the liberation of the Korean nation. Western powers like the UK and USA supported the Japanese colonization of the Korean peninsula. The people were enslaved and suffered in unimaginable manner. Resistance formed. A communist movement came to be, but it was without Comrade Kim Il-sung and the Juche Idea. Factionalism was a huge problem. Some wanted to get recognition by the Comintern, completely ignoring the Korean situation at the time and kowtowing to the USSR. Infighting was the result. Self-proclaimed communists fought each other more viciously than the Japanese fascists and their puppets. More so, they even used the Japanese police to betray each other. Needless to say, this early communist uprising failed. Then Comrade Kim Il-sung founded various communist movements like the Down with Imperialism Union, the Anti-Japanese People's Guerrilla Army, the Association for the Restoration of the Fatherland, the Workers' Party of Korea, and many more. In Kowloon in 1930, he put forward the Juche-oriented revolutionary line, strategy and tactics. Since he knew where factionalism leads to, education and training of the population, guerrillas and officials of various organizations was at the center of Comrade Kim Il-sung's political work and guerrilla struggle since the early days. It remained vital throughout the anti-Japanese armed struggle, the Korean Socialist Revolution, the Fatherland Liberation War, and to this day. On September 9, 1945, the USA declared the Korean Peninsula below the 38th parallel their colony, stationed troops and military machinery there, and installed a puppet regime. While in the northern part, the people in deep love and trust for Comrade Kim Il-sung elected him head of state. The USSR had no telling in this process. The people became the true masters of their destiny for the first time in a long time. So the comparison makes the DPRK shine while the puppet regime in the south is filled with shame to the brim. Also, the DPRK sought peaceful reunification right from the start, while the Sungman-Rhee clique betrayed the masses, smashed resistance, and slaughtered people in the thousands to stay in power and keep their overlords from the USA happy. Also, they started war preparations right from the start. The USA poured military equipment into the country and started provocations at the border, which was not much more than a line on the map at that time. Due to this, it was easy for the puppet army to intrude into the DPRK, take out various military operations and leave again, hoping the leadership of the DPRK would lose nerve and attack. Since that never happened, the Sungman-Rhee clique snapped and started the war by attacking the north on June 26, 1950, underestimating the strength of the KPA. Guided by the invincible Juche Idea, defense was organized at once and the attack was pulverized. But the USA got their way, a war in Korea. I want to remind everyone of the unique and vital Jongsan-Rhee spirit and Jongsan-Rhee method. Shortly spoken, officials from communal level up to the Prime Minister and chairman of the Workers' Party of Korea visit agricultural sites, production plants, construction sites, etc., to see with their own eyes the successes and problems occurring, talking to the people there, give guidance, join them in their daily work, and receive thoughts and ideas, suggestions for improvements and problems to be solved at higher levels. So it is a true bilateral system of learning and guidance from workers to leadership and the other way around. Unthinkable in a capitalist society where criticism is unwanted and even punished. Patriotism and true love for the motherland are cornerstones of Korean socialism since the anti-Japanese armed struggle. This is important to understand since the south of Korea is still a colony of US imperialism ruled by a fascist puppet clique. The separation created by the USA and Japan is maintained to this day to form a footing for US imperialism in Southeast Asia. Plans for peaceful reunification lie on the table since the 1970s. Unification work has been done since the USA viciously cut the nation in half in September 1945. Like Japan, Chinese Taipei, Guam, and others, the US imperialists want to keep the colonies intact, and in case of Korea, want to extend it over the whole nation to oppress the people, plunder the land, and smash Korean socialism to move on to the PRC later. I have some thoughts for you, dear listener, personally and directly. We must get educated and tear down the walls of lies built around us to prevent us from learning the truth about Korea and sharing it with our fellow people. The so-called news out there are mostly pure fiction and propaganda to keep you uninformed tools of the will of the ruling class. That's what the so-called media are for, not information, but manipulation. What can you do about it? Read books, get active in communities, ask questions. When you are called a useful idiot, always know it comes from a useful idiot, a true one. Once you start learning, your worldview won't be black and white anymore. It will get colorful. Don't lose hope when things suddenly become complicated and difficult. Easy answers are provided for simple minds to keep them dumb and useful. So living in a complex world is a sign of awakening and a good thing. Understand that others have not reached your level of understanding yet, while others are ahead of you. Be respectful. Try to learn from experienced comrades while patiently educating those who still believe government lies and fairy stories from so-called defectors, who mostly are just petty grifters who make money by telling crazy stories, partly because they are degenerate criminals, partly because they are kept hostage in the South and forced to tell lies. Stay critical. Stay brave. US imperialists out of Korea now. The truth always prevails. Long live the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Respected Marshal Kim Jong-un Manse. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Martin, for such an excellent speech with very thoughtful comments, and I think a rallying cry for us to campaign against anti-DPRK propaganda and defeat it and smash it completely. Thank you. Now, KFA Croatia, if you're ready, please proceed.
Yes, thank you. I hope you can hear me well. Dear comrades, fellow members of the KFA, representatives of the DPRK, and anyone else joining us in goodwill, whether in, online, but even so, we are gathered to celebrate the founding anniversary of the DPRK. The republic which we all admire is now 75 years old. We are gathered and contribute however we can so that we would at the very least counter the excess propaganda against this righteous republic, to oppose all those voices calling it tyrannical or anyone's puppet. Our first argument, in my view, should be its longevity and historical experience. Western textbooks will often say that the DPRK was founded by the Soviets and that they were puppets. We, of course, know that armed with the Juche idea, the Korean people are nobody's puppets. And what better proof of strong and independent will of this proud people than the proof that their republic, a true people's republic, is still here. The USSR sadly succumbed to revisionism and failed as a state. Socialism likewise failed in my own country. Yet Korea still proudly stands. Westerners often forget how much more better off the DPRK was than the regime at the south of the Korean peninsula. The DPRK maintained positive relations with the Eastern Bloc, with China, with the non-aligned movement. The Southern regime was clearly just propped up by the US occupiers as an arm of American imperialism in East Asia. It was economically worse off, and for most of the time, it did not even pretend to hold fair elections. When this suddenly changed, the US became a global hegemon, and the DPRK became the most sanctioned country in the world. How easy it would have been to fall down or become a satellite of a bigger power. Yet, due to the ideology of Juche and the competent leadership of the great President Kim Il-sung and Chairman Kim Jong-il, it remained independent. Some countries brag about gaining independence while being at the leash of another power. But People's Korea remained strong and independent in the truest sense of the word. Despite all changes, the DPRK continued caring for its people, and at the same time it managed to become a nuclear power and a space power. To deny this is to totally ignore and to be totally ignorant about the situation in the Korean Peninsula. Small nations can often get swallowed up by big nations with big ideas. There are many such nations in Europe, and my home country is a great example of one. The DPRK shines brightly as a beacon to all who want what is best for their people, but especially so for countries like my own, to which it shows what is possible. That is why it is a great honor to belong to the Korean Friendship Association. That is why I celebrate the 75 years of the DPRK, and that is why we should all wish Korea a prosperous future free of global hegemony preventing reunification. May it find favorable conditions in the newly emerging multipolar world and restore its international relations. Long live People's Korea. Long live Juche.
Thank you very much, comrade, for an excellent and powerful speech, and I think a very original one. You know, very much spoken from the heart and reflecting the situation of your own country. Thank you very much. Call upon Comrade Sean Pickford of KFA Staffordshire and Secretary General British Group for the Study of the Juche Idea. He is going to read the rest of his speech because last week he only gave an abbreviated version. If you're ready there, Sean.
Okay, if everybody can hear me. Over the course of social and historical development, politics constitutes one of the basic spheres of human activity. The role and influence of politics are immeasurably greater in a social society where the working masses play the leading role. Having gained a deep insight into the decisive role of political life, the three great leaders of the Korean Revolution, Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, and Kim Jong-un, evolved theories on state power. The 75th anniversary of the founding of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea gives us the opportunity to reflect on the unique history and essence of state power in the DPRK. An examination of the roots of the DPRK's foundation can be found in the revolutionary traditions of the anti-Japanese national liberation struggle of the 1930s and 1940s. A people's revolutionary government was set up in the areas that had been freed from the colonial rule of Japan along the Tumen River between Manchuria and Korea. The program of the Association for the Restoration of the Fatherland, which was issued on May 5th, 1936, called for the establishment of a people's democratic government after liberation. When Korea gained its freedom from Japanese imperialism on August 15, 1945, the process of building a new state structure began. A pressing question before the liberated Korean people was, what kind of state power should be built? Kim Il-sung addressed this point on October the 3rd, 1945, stating that Korea should take the road of progressive democracy. The concept of progressive democracy was more attuned to the conditions of Korea, which had emerged from feudalism and colonialism. In point of fact, neither Soviet-style proletarian democracy or a US kind of bourgeois democracy would have been applicable to the needs of the Korean Revolution at that time. On September the 9th, 1948, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was proclaimed to the world. With the establishment of the DPRK, the Korean people became a dignified people who would determine their fate independently. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea is the only authentic state in Korea which commands the unanimous support of the entire people. The founding of the DPRK is an acknowledgement of its democratic and sovereign nature, carrying forward the anti-Japanese revolutionary traditions. Political life in the DPRK is a universal one and a daily routine for every member of society. The DPRK gives the opportunity to the working masses to exercise their leading role in the state power apparatus and participate actively in governmental administration. All citizens aged 17 and above have the right to be elected and to elect, irrespective of gender, occupation, party affiliation, and property status. There is the right to recall any deputy of the Supreme People's Assembly who fails in his or her duty. All elections are universal and equal by secret ballot. The social composition of the deputies to the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK is as follows: 37% from the working class, 10% from the cooperative peasantry, and 20% are women. In total, the number of deputies to the SPA is currently 687. To give one example of how socially inclusive the democratic process is in the DPRK, we have the instance of Jo Kil-myung, a street cleaner from the Pyeongchang district of Pyongyang, who was elected as a Supreme People's Assembly deputy. There are representatives from the Workers' Party of Korea, the Korean Social Democratic Party, the Chondoist Chondu Party, the General Federation of Trade Unions of Korea, youth and women's groups who are deputies to the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK. Under the guidance of Kim Jong-un, the state mechanism of the DPRK was updated and perfected. The State Affairs Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was instituted as the highest body of the state in June 2016 and streamlined the governmental system. In view of the changing circumstances, the Socialist Constitution of the DPRK has been amended several times in the last 5 decades. The respected comrade Kim Jong-un is now the president of the State Affairs Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. As part of a delegation of the Korean Friendship Association, I had the privilege of seeing the vibrant reality of Socialist Korea on the occasion of the celebration of the 70th anniversary of the founding of the DPRK in September 2018. Always memorable was witnessing the parade on Kim Il-sung Square in central Pyongyang for the DPRK's Foundation Day and viewing the mass games, the country of the people, staged in the May Day Stadium. Being in Pyongyang for the 70th anniversary commemorations of the Republic was a living testimony to the socialist civilization of the DPRK. It can be said that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is a society of the future, already in the present, a model of communism for all of humanity. Reflecting on the 75th anniversary of the Republic, it can be regarded that the former government of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is the most democratic one, aspiring to the aspirations of the popular masses and based upon the united forces of the population. Democracy in a lot of countries around the world is a commodity that is bought and sold to the highest bidder, and there is apathy and alienation among the ordinary citizens towards the electoral processes in those nations. In contrast, the decision-making processes in the DPRK at all levels is actively taken part in by the majority of the population. A unique people's government, and one which aspires and represents the interests of the working people, including the workers, farmers, and intellectuals, as operating in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. On the 75th anniversary of its foundation, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is looking more glorious as a great and independent socialist power. Glory to the 75th anniversary of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Long live the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the homeland of the great Juche and Songam ideas.
Thank you very much, Comrade Sean, for that excellent address, which included a piece about the 70th anniversary of the DPRK. We were both in Pyongyang together.
Yes, 5 years ago.
For that. That's right, and have many memories of that. And your speech, I think, had excellently contrasted the superiority of people's democracy in the DPRK with the corrupt and elitist system that we have in the capitalist countries. And indeed, you hit a note by saying in capitalist countries, democracy is bought and sold.
Yeah.
And before I move on to the next speaker, I would just point out to the audience outside the UK that last week, one of the biggest local authorities in the UK, Birmingham City Council, went bankrupt. Not a single council in the DPRK has gone bankrupt, and there are no public spending cuts in the DPRK. That is testament to the superiority of the system there. Anyway, moving on. KFA Greece, Comrade Konstantin Chrysalis, if you're ready to speak, please do so.
Of course, thank you. First, I would like to thank everyone who is attending today, both from the Korean Friendship Association and from other organizations. Our goal towards bringing the DPRK closer to the world is similar, and we are all working towards it. Very glad to see people here on this occasion, this important occasion. Now, this year marks the 75th anniversary of the foundation of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which is a country which stands as a paragon of socialism both in the 21st century, setting a bright example for countries to follow regarding the matter of socialism in the 21st century, but also in the latter half of the 20th century, continuing its socialist development with everlasting vigor up to this day. The DPRK, which has outlived the USSR, is still going strong without an ounce of reformism or revisionism, and always fighting factionalism within the ranks of the party with utmost vigilance. We are studying the example of the DPRK's socialist construction and the methods of the Korean people that they implement in their attempts to further develop their nation. The country stands as a very noteworthy example of scientific study within the ranks of Greek socialists, and we, in the Korean Friendship Association, often analyze the DPRK, and all our people are encouraged to help educate people outside of our association in order to better understanding of socialist implementation, but always noting that Juche, while universally applicable, must always be adapted to each people's materialistic conditions, which is what makes it also universally applicable, in order to ensure that socialist construction is foolproof, as is in the DPRK, evidently so, and as noted by the previous speeches. Additionally, we pay great respect to the Korean people's determination and efforts in defending their country, both physically with the Korean People's Army ensuring that the citizens remain safe under the constant war that is being waged by the imperialists again in the country, and ideologically with the principle of Songun being ever developed and standing as a bulwark of socialist defense for the people, ensuring that Juche is being followed and developed steadily without any interference being allowed to exist and make the Korean people falter. Truly, we express our gratitude to the Korean people and its leadership, setting a perfect example for others to follow. We, the Korean Friendship Association of Greece, never cease our effort to grasp a better understanding of the DPRK and are always happy to celebrate together with the Korean people on their celebrations. And the 75th anniversary of the foundation of the Republic is one of the, if not the most important one, and we applaud Juche Korea for standing still despite the egregious war that is being waged against it, especially this year, since we very seriously consider the possibility of war escalation in the Korean Peninsula, taking into consideration the actions of the US, South Korea, and Japan imperialist axis, but also other pawns of imperialism, such as, for example, the UK with its recent naval provocations. We are looking forward to seeing more and more achievements being accomplished by the Korean people, and we will always be there to note such achievements and share them with our own Greek people and all the people of the world. We are certain that the DPRK will live to proudly see even the 100th anniversary of its existence, and we will be there to celebrate together and help our people come closer to the Korean people as much as possible every time we can. Glory to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Glory to the Workers' Party of Korea. Glory to the Korean People's Army. Manse.
Right. Thank you very much for such an excellent and very well delivered speech, comrade. I think you're a great credit to KFA Greece.
Please allow
for-
me to also note that we also have solidarity greetings and congratulations from our General Secretary, George Hadzipatera, who unfortunately couldn't be here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And please send my regards to George, who is an old friend of mine and, of course, is a dual member of both KFA Greece and KFA UK, as he lived here for many years.
Will do.
But say thank you for that. Now, Daniel, if you're there and you're ready, would you like to speak on behalf of KFA Switzerland?
Yes, for sure. Hello, everybody. Today we gather here to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. It's an honor to stand before you on this momentous occasion as we celebrate the achievements and progress of a nation that has overcome numerous challenges and emerged as a symbol of resilience and determination. The Swiss Korea Committee takes a great pride in glorifying the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a nation that consistently strives for the well-being and prosperity of its people. Over the past 75 years, the DPRK has made remarkable strides in various fields, including education, healthcare, technology, all while upholding the principles of socialism and self-reliance. Throughout its history of the DPRK has faced numerous external pressures and threats, yet it has remained steadfast in its commitment as safeguarding its sovereignty and independence. The Korean people, under the leadership of the Workers' Party of Korea, have shown unwavering unity and resilience, proving that they are the masters of their own destiny. One of the key pillars of that contributed of the strength and stability of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is the Songun policy. Songun, or military first, emphasizes the importance of a strong and capable defense force to protect the nation's interests. This policy has not only ensured the security of the Korean people, but also has played a crucial role in the nation's development and progress. As we celebrate this momentous occasion, let us take a moment to reflect on the achievements of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, from its successful nuclear program to its advancements in science and technology. The DPRK has proven time and again that it's a force to be reckoned with. The nation's commitments to self-reliance and socialism has allowed it to overcome numerous of the obstacles and emerge as a beacon of hope for other nations striving for independence and sovereignty. Today, I call upon each and every one of you to identify with the principles of Songun. Let us recognize the importance of strong defense force in safeguarding our nation's interests and ensuring the well-being of our people. Let us stand united in our commitment to self-reliance and socialism, just as the Democratic People Republic of Korea has done for the past 75 years. In conclusion, let us celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea with a great pride and admiration. Let us honor the achievements and progress of a nation that has overcome countless challenges. Manse.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for an excellent speech. It's always great to have someone from KFA Switzerland at these meetings. And we miss the presence of your chairman, Comrade Martin Loscher, who many people here will remember. Please convey the best regards of this meeting to him and wish him a speedy recovery, and also my own wishes for a speedy recovery. We really miss him a lot, and I hope to see him again either at the KFA International meeting or in Pyongyang. So please say get well soon, Comrade Martin. Okay. If Comrade Mikhail Vivianco from KFA Spain is here, if he'd like to address the meeting on behalf of KFA Spain.
Hello, here am I. Thank you very much, Comrade Dermot. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending the meeting, and especially for the organization committees. Very impressive work indeed, as always. Well, my speech is very brief. It was like on the National Day, Juche 112, we, revolutionaries and progressive peoples of the world, greet with joy this special September 9, when 75 years ago, Comrade Eternal President, His Excellency Kim Il-sung, founded the glorious Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the state of the workers and the line of defense for socialism, independence, anti-imperialism, and internationalism. The DPRK is the happiest country in the world because it is the people who control the means of production and therefore their own lives. Juche Idea rightly teaches us that people have their destiny in their hands. They own it, but the means of production are also part of the destiny. The legacy of the Eternal President was faithfully continued by His Excellency Comrade Eternal General Secretary Kim Jong-il, and today a bright future awaits Juche Korea under the wise leadership of His Excellency Comrade General Secretary Kim Jong-un. Together with the Workers' Party of Korea, the People's Army, and the brave working masses, the wise leadership of Supreme Commander secures the happy existence of Socialist Korea. The DPRK is an example for independence and socialism for all the oppressed and progressive peoples of the world who are fighting for true sovereignty and for the construction of communism. It is a giant nuclear power and a prosperous and real social state. Therefore, in internationalist and anti-imperialist solidarity, we humbly defend and will forever defend Songun Korea by any means necessary. Long live the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Joseon Min Junjui in Min Kongwangju, Manse. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Mikhail, for that very short, though inspiring and powerful address that we're very pleased to hear. And it's always good to hear from KFA Spain, and we wish KFA Spain every success in its work. Now, if Comrade, I don't know, I hope he will understand me, Comrade Leonid Shkolnikov from Belarus is here. if he'd like to read out his speech, and then I will read out the translation of his speech. Are you there? Is he there? Right, I can't actually seem to see him on this meeting. He sent in a speech and was insistent that we read it out. So I'm going to read out a translation of the speech as quickly as I can. That was done by a Russian-speaking member of KFA UK, who is also a Russian writer, and it is the speech by Leonid Shkolkainikov, Secretary of the Central Committee of the CPSU of Belarus, First Secretary of the or Coordinator of the Belarusian DPRK Friendship Society, named after comrades Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. And his speech is the place of the DPRK in the modern world. After the liberation of the Korean people from the cruel Japanese yoke by the Korean People's Revolutionary Army in cooperation with the Red Army of the USSR, US imperialism in 1945 disrupted the formation of a unified Korean state by occupying the south of the Korean Peninsula. As a result, an independent people's state, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, was formed in the north of the peninsula in September 1948. 75 years have passed since then. During the period, the heroic Korean people in the north of the peninsula, under the leadership of the Workers' Party of Korea, led by the great leader Comrade Kim Il-sung, the great leader Comrade Kim Jong-il, and respected Comrade Kim Jong-un, have fully implemented Comrade Kim Il-sung's national and social liberation ideas of Juche, the correctness of which have been proven by revolutionary practice. These ideas have been developed into a holistic, original science of public life. Kim Il-sungism, Kim Jong-ilism. Kim Il-sungism, Kim Jong-ilism logically continues the achievements of Marxism, Leninism, Stalinism in a different era, the era of globalization. That is, in an era of accelerated process of comprehensive and universal unity of mankind. On the basis of scientific and technological progress, it promises a revolutionary organization of the world community on collective socialist principles, the only ones capable of solving all modern problems of mankind. The natural process of globalization is extremely hindered by modern imperialism in the form of an alliance of Anglo-Saxon and European detachments, the world financial oligarchy, and its military and political elite in their home countries, the United States, Great Britain, Canada, Japan, and the EU states. It is hampered by all kinds of sanctions and economic blockades, the divide and rule policy, the arms race and wars for the sake of preserving super profits. This alliance today throws all its combined military, economic and information power into solving the issue of preserving its world domination, that is, attempts to globalize the world in the American way, when all peoples and their states must work for the interests of the United States. And that also includes their satellite states, which are at the same time competitors like the states of Europe. The military political elite of the United States does not object to a single humanity, but only under its power and in the capacity of slaves. The situation is aggravated by the fact that the Anglo-Saxon and European global capital owns weapons of mass destruction, which can be used as it was done in 1945, and it is fraught with the destruction of mankind. It was the Anglo-Saxon financial capital based in the USA and Great Britain, profiting from the Second World War, while largely avoiding its devastating consequences that first picked up the baton of German Nazism with its delusional idea of achieving complete and universal world domination. Having terrified the world with the explosions of nuclear bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the carpet bombing of German citizens without any military necessity in order to paralyze the will to resist their global expansion, they began to implement this delusional idea. And the first victim of this policy was the DPRK. The United States threw against it the army of the South Korean puppets that they had nurtured in June 1950. When the puppet army began to suffer defeat from the KPA thanks to the military genius of Comrade Kim Il-sung, the courage of the Korean people who did not want to fall into enslavement again, thanks to the heroism of the young KPA with its victorious traditions in the fight against the Japanese occupiers, the United States fully deployed its own troops and the troops of its satellite using the UN, which they already saw as their subordinate. But the people of the DPRK, with the help of their friends, the People's Republic of China and the Soviet Union, defeated the global neo-fascists, forcing them to offer a truce. And now, when socialism has been built in the DPRK in the most difficult conditions of constant warfare, the course has been taken towards full communism by building a powerful and socialist power when, thanks to the consistent implementation of the Songham policy, the problem of the ability to reliably defend itself has been completely solved and the country entered the category of nuclear powers. The DPRK's role in the world, not only on the national regional level, but also on the world level, is already visible. The DPRK is one at the forefront of the struggle against global neo-fascist imperialism and capable of inflicting its final defeat, and is two in the vanguard of the socio-political and scientific and technological progress of mankind. Back in 1992, after the collapse of socialism in the USSR and in Eastern Europe, the destruction of the state structures in the USSR as a result of the ideological revisionism and the betrayal of the late Soviet Party leadership, the mighty Pyongyang Declaration in defense of socialism came from the DPRK. In all subsequent years to this day, this country has been an example of its embodiment, continuing the natural course of transition from mankind from capitalism to socialism. For Korean communists united with the people, there is no humanity determining the true content of the epoch experienced by humanity in the main modern enemy of human civilization, American imperialism. Therefore, for example, they do not hesitate to support Russia's special military operation against American and Bandera fascism in the Ukraine, despite the fact that the DPRK is a socialist country and Russia is an oligarchic one. Since today, the way to save humanity from destruction and to socialism lies through the victory over neo-fascism, and Russia is waging a just war against it. Today, the role of the DPRK, the brainchild of the great persons of Mount Paktu, the selfless and peaceful military honor of the Korean communist freedom-loving peoples, is one of the determining factors in the destruction of neo-fascism, in saving humanity from self-destruction in the nuclear cataclysm, and ensuring the entry into true history, communism, society of peace and universal material, spiritual, and physical well-being under the conditions of social justice. Therefore, congratulating the people of the DPRK on the 75th anniversary of their state, all progressive humanity demonstrates unshaken solidarity with them. Minsk, 26 August 2023. Thank you very much for listening. I say that was the contribution from Belarus. Now I would call upon Jacob from the Cholima Youth Front of Poland to address the meeting.
Hello. Thank you, Comrade Demot, for giving me the floor. Thank you as well to all of the participants of the second session. I am pleased to have the opportunity to be part of this meeting with you all from different countries and different organizations. Comrades, in celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, we honor a nation deeply rooted in the principles of Juche ideology, a brilliant philosophy forged by the dear leader Comrade Kim Il-sung. Guided by his remarkable leadership, the people-centric policies of the Workers' Party of Korea, and the resourcefulness of its citizens, the Korean nation has forged a resilient and prosperous socialist state, surmounting numerous challenges amid a demanding global landscape. Today, alongside the global progressive community, we mark the splendid establishment of the DPRK 75 years ago, a historic milestone achieved after years of subjugation and Japanese occupation. The quest for independence ushered in an era of elation for the Korean people under the compassionate leadership of the great Comrade Kim Il-sung and the Workers' Party of Korea. The DPRK's first constitution embodied remarkable progressivism, offering citizens benefits previously unimaginable. However, soon after liberation, Korea found itself compelled to defend its hard-won independence in the Great Fatherland Liberation War. Under the brilliant strategic command of the great leader Comrade Kim Il-sung, the nation safeguarded its sovereignty and embarked on the arduous task of rebuilding a country ravaged by American imperialism. The lasting strength of Juche ideology is clearly seen in how the DPRK managed to withstand the fall of socialist states in Europe and the Soviet Union during the early 1990s. Guided by the esteemed leadership of the great Comrade Kim Jong-il, the principles laid down by Comrade Kim Il-sung endured, reinforcing the nation's dedication to Songun politics and fostering unity among the people of the DPRK as they confronted imperialism. As we celebrate the resilient history and achievements of this remarkable nation, we draw inspiration from the principles of Juche ideology and the unwavering dedication of its people. Amidst the ever-evolving global landscape, the DPRK remains one of the few nations where citizens continue to revel in the blessing of socialism, including free healthcare and education, affordable housing, and a thriving socialist culture. Furthermore, the DPRK's successful development of nuclear weapons has solidified its status as a nuclear power. Today, under the esteemed leadership of respected Comrade Kim Jong-un, the DPRK ushers in a new era of diplomacy. While this marks a momentous achievement for independent Juche and Songun-based politics, we must remain vigilant, acknowledging the unwavering opposition of the United States to socialist nations as it seeks to advance its capitalist neo-colonial agenda globally. The memory of heroic battles fought in the Great Fatherland Liberation War serves as a poignant reminder of the actions of the American military, not only in the DPRK, but across the globe. The imperialist threat, once akin to a stinging wasp during the Great Fatherland Liberation War, has now transformed into a cunning imperialist snake using economic sanctions to infringe upon DPRK's sovereignty while simultaneously cementing its venomous ideology. Korean-style socialism stands unmatched, with the Korean people steadfastly marching toward a brighter future under the distinguished leadership of the illustrious Workers' Party of Korea, whose history is written in golden letters. As we celebrate this significant anniversary, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to the people of the DPRK and wish the nation continued success in economic development and a prosperous future under the enduring banner of socialism. This October also marks the 75th anniversary of the enduring friendship between the Republic of Poland and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. This long-standing friendship is an integral part of our shared history, a testament to our mutual respect and solidarity. Over the years, our two nations have maintained a close bond founded on common values and aspirations. As we commemorate these two momentous anniversaries here, I would also like to extend my warmest wishes to both the Korean people and our friends in Poland. May these occasions serve as a wellspring of inspiration to further fortify the friendship and collaboration between our nations. Long live the respected Comrade Kim Jong-un, long live the glorious Workers' Party of Korea, long live the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jacob, for such an excellent speech. And of course, in Poland, there are several different DPRK friendship associations like KFA Poland, like the People's Career Initiative of Poland, and your own organisation, the Chilima Youth Front, and of course I believe there is also Explore DPRK. And I'd just quickly like to express my solidarity with the People's Career Initiative of Poland, who have come under attack on Twitter and who are being threatened on Twitter. And this is a tactic of our MNEs to use journalists and internet trolls against us to try and silence any support for People's Career. And it is a great thing, though the attendance at this meeting may seem modest. I think we're doing quite well with 26 people. You know, a comrade from KFA USA said to me once, I'm surprised you can hold any meetings at all in the UK and Europe because it is so reactionary. Anyway, I do not wish to sort of monopolize the meeting. And now we got a section given over to speakers from the Russian-based International Solidarity Group with the DPRK, who promotes solidarity and cooperation with the DPRK in Russia and also in a number of countries. So I would like to call the head of the group, Comrade Alexander Mostov, to speak first, and he will be followed by Konstantin Asmolov, a famous Russian scientist. So over to you, Alexander.
Thank you. Dear comrades, as chairman of the coordination committee of the DPRK ASG, I am glad to see you at the online meeting dedicated to the anniversary of the founding of the anniversary of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Сегодня уважаемый товарищ Ким Чен Ын всесторонне реализует заветы великого вождя товарища Ким Ир Сена и великого руководителя товарища Ким Чен Ира, которые посвятили свою жизнь вечному чаянию корейского народа построить на родной земле мощное и процветающее государство. Но консервативная свора Юн Сок Йола вместе с Соединенными Штатами Америки в очередной раз из-за своих идей ставит под угрозу не только мир на Корейском полуострове, но и во всем Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе в целом.
Today, the respected comrade Kim Jong-un is comprehensively implementing the precepts of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, who wanted to build a powerful and prosperous state on Korean soil. But the conservative gang of Yoon Suk-yeol, following the orders of the United States, once again endangers peace not only in the Korean region, but throughout the Asia-Pacific region.
Сложившаяся ситуация обязывает нас сегодня вспомнить уроки истории национально-освободительной борьбы корейского народа, провести параллели с событиями современности и сделать выводы о том, какой вклад в общее дело мы можем внести своими силами.
The current situation obliges us today to recall the lessons of the history of the national liberation struggle of the Korean people, draw parallels with the events of our time, and draw conclusions about what contribution to the common cause we can make on our own.
Когда началась Корейская война, выживание КНДР казалось практически невозможным. Как небольшая республика может одолеть такого гиганта, как Соединенные Штаты Америки? Но не просто выживание, а победа корейского народа, достигнутая героизмом и самоотверженностью бойцов Корейской народной армии, китайских народных добровольцев и советских летчиков, стало важным поворотным моментом в истории, подтверждающим неоспоримую истину о мощи единодушия и сплоченности.
When the Korean War began, the survival of the DPRK seemed almost impossible. How can a small republic defeat such a giant as the United States? But not just survival, the victory of the Korean people, achieved by the heroism and selflessness of the soldiers of the Korean People's Army, Chinese People's Volunteers and Soviet pilots, became an important turning point in history, confirming the undeniable truth about the power of anonymity and solidarity.
Однако Соединенные Штаты не сделали выводов из своего поражения. Напротив, на протяжении последних 70 лет они, оккупировав Юг Кореи и установив на нем марионеточное правительство, готовились к новому вторжению. С тех пор на протяжении 70 лет они проводят масштабные учения, такие как Freedom Shield, в которых имитируется полномасштабная война против республики, включая превентивные удары по ядерным объектам и ракетным сооружениям, захват Пхеньяна и ликвидацию руководства. Более того, сейчас американцы вновь планируют разместить под тем или иным предлогом свое ядерное оружие на территории Южной Кореи, которая, разумеется, будет представлять прямую угрозу не только для КНДР, но и для России и Китая.
However, the US did not learn from its defeat. On the contrary, over the past 70 years, having occupied the south of Korea and installed a puppet government on it, they were preparing for a new invasion. Since then, for 70 years, they have been conducting large-scale military exercises, such as Freedom Shield, which simulates a full-scale war against the Republic, including so-called preemptive strikes on nuclear and missile facilities, and the seizure of Pyongyang, and the liquidation of the leadership. Moreover, now the US are planning to once again place, under one pretext or another, their nuclear weapons on the territory of South Korea, which, of course, will pose a direct threat not only to the DPRK, but also to Russia and China.
Хочу отметить такой важный момент. История показала, что все попытки заключить честный договор с США, будь то рамочное соглашение 1994 года между США и КНДР, межкорейские соглашения нулевых и десятых годов, или договоренности с Трампом во время последнего периода улучшения отношений, приводят лишь к тому, что враг выигрывает время и затем отказывается от всех своих обещаний под предлогом нового курса после смены очередной администрации в США или Южной Корее. Это поистине абсурдно. И в этой связи необходимо понимать, что все уступки, все жесты доброй воли, сделанные Америкой или ее сателлитам, приводят только к одному из двух сценариев. К оккупации, как это произошло с Ираком, или порабощению, как это случилось с Украиной.
History has shown that all attempts to conclude a fair deal with the United States, whether it be the 1994 US DPRK Framework Agreement, the Inter-Korean agreements, or agreements with Trump during the last period of improvement in relations, only led to the fact that the enemy buys time and then abandons his promises under the pretext of a new deal after a change of administration in the United States or South Korea. This is truly absurd. And in this connection, it must be remembered that all concessions, all goodwill gestures made to US or its satellites lead to only one of the two scenarios: occupation, as happened with Iraq, or enslavement, as happened with Ukraine.
В такой сложной ситуации, дорогие товарищи, нам следует активно сотрудничать с учеными и общественными деятелями, способными распространять правдивую информацию о КНДР. Наш долг – укреплять движение международной солидарности и делать все возможное, чтобы сорвать пропагандистскую кампанию США, направленную на дегуманизацию КНДР в глазах мирового сообщества.
In such a difficult situation, dear comrades, we should actively cooperate with scientists and public figures who can spread truthful information about the DPRK. It is our duty to strengthen the movement of international solidarity with the DPRK and do our best to frustrate the US propaganda campaign aimed at dehumanizing the DPRK in the eyes of the world community.
Напоследок хотел бы обратиться к нашим активистам в Китае, России, Таджикистане, Германии, Венгрии, других европейских странах и Белоруссии.
Finally, now I would like to have a quick address to our activists in different countries such as Belarus, Russia, Germany, China, Tajikistan, and other countries.
Будьте сильными и непоколебимыми.
Be strong and never falter.
Продвигайте развитие ваших организаций на научной основе, чтобы люди самых разных социальных слоев верили вам и в ваши идеи.
You should develop the work of our executive committees on the basis of the academic spirit, so that people from all social strata will develop trust in your work and activity.
Всем активистам, которые сейчас находятся в зоне специальной военной операции, или детям, которые проходят из Луганской Народной Республики в рамках нашей группы солидарности рабочую практику, я хочу пожелать мирного неба над головой и скорейшего окончания нынешнего военного конфликта.
To all our activists in the zone of the special military operation, and to all the children of the Lugansk and Donetsk People's Republic who are making work practice in the frame of our organization, I would like to wish a peaceful heaven over their head and happiness.
Большое спасибо вам, дорогие товарищи, и в особенности вам, товарищ Дермат Хьюдсон. Я надеюсь, что в дальнейшем мы сможем продуктивно работать ради общего дела. Thank you.
Thank you, dear comrades, and thank you to all listeners, and especially respected Mr. Dermot Hudson. And we hope to fully develop our cooperation in the future further on.
Right. Well, thank you very much for your speech, and thank you, Tim, for providing translation for us. And as I say, I think that was a very powerful and speech indeed. And of course, People's Korea supports the special military operation being carried out by the Russian Federation, which is a just defensive action and a anti-fascist action. And I myself have joined many pickets in support of the anti-fascist People's Republics of the Donbass in my own personal capacity. And next speaker, if he is ready, we would like to call upon Konstantin Asmolov, a famous Russian scientist and writer, and he's well known as a writer or journalist on the journal The New Eastern Outlook. If you're ready, please, to speak, please go ahead.
Here I am ready, and let the speech begin. 9 сентября 2023 года исполняется 75 лет со дня образования КНДР. Опыт существования этой страны нуждается в серьезном научном осмыслении, поскольку он не оставляет камня на камне от ряда либеральных теорий, в первую очередь так называемой концепции демократического транзита. Когда рухнул Восточный блок, западный мир пребывал в уверенности, что мировой социалистической системе настал конец, и так называемые авторитарные режимы не просуществуют долго и уступят место демократии, только при которой возможен реальный прогресс и военно-космические достижения. Северная Корея решительно опровергает этот тезис, являясь самой долгоживущей социалистической страной.
The experience of the existence of this country needs a very serious scientific reflection, since it does not leave a stone unturned from a number of liberal theories. First of all, the so-called concept of democratic transition. When the Eastern Bloc collapsed, the Western world came to the conclusion that the world socialist system had to come to an end, and the regimes, which in their paradigm are usually called authoritarian, would not last long and would give way to democracy, in which real progress and military space achievements. By its very existence, North Korea decisively refutes this thesis, being at the moment the longest living socialist country.
Напомним, социалистический Китай образовался 1 октября 1949 года, и Северная Корея была тылом для китайских коммунистов в их гражданской войне с Гоминданом. Несколько дивизий, состоящих из китайских корейцев, покрылись Югославией как на полях сражений в Китае, так и в Отечественной освободительной войне.
Recall that Socialist China was formed on October 1st, 1949, At the same time, North Korea was the rear of the Chinese communists in their civil war with the Kuomintang. And several decisions consisting of Chinese Koreans covered themselves with glory, both on the battlefields in China and in the Patriotic Liberation War.
Советский Союз образовался в 1922 году, но даже если отсчитывать существование Советской России с Октябрьской революции 7 ноября 1917 года, то получается, что Северная Корея просуществовала больше лет, чем СССР, который в декабре 1991 года развалился по внутриполитическим причинам.
The Soviet Union was formed in 1922, but even if we count the existence of Soviet Russia from the Great October Socialist Revolution on November 7th, 1917, it turns out of that North Korea lasted more years than the USSR, which collapsed for internal reasons in December 1991.
При этом на долю КНДР не раз выпадали великие испытания. Надо напомнить, что Северная Корея – это государство, на территории которого проживают всего 25 миллионов жителей, а большая часть территории составляют горы. Это означает проблемы с сельским хозяйством, и в стране нет запасов нефти и газа, из-за которых она могла бы жить за счет экспортно ориентированной экономики или экспорта нефти, как это делала Ливия. Географическая обстановка вообще создавала существенные проблемы экономическому развитию страны, не позволяя выстроить тот уровень автаркии, который существовал бы при большем изобилии природных ресурсов.
At the same time, truly great trials fell to the lot of DPRK more than once. North Korea itself is a state with a total of 25 million inhabitants living on the territory under its control, and most of the territory is mountains. The country does not have its own oil and gas reserves, because of which it is not possible to live off the export-oriented economy, as for example Libya did. The difficult geographical situation generally created significant problems for the economic development of the country, preventing it from building the level of economic autarky that would exist with a greater abundance of natural resources.
Затем на страну обрушилась Корейская война, которая была самой кровопролитной и разрушительной войной второй половины XX века. 3 миллиона жертв, значительную часть которых составляло мирное население. Вторая африканская война убила больше людей, но там не было угрозы ядерного оружия, ковровых бомбардировок, которые уничтожили большинство городов и объектов инфраструктуры, а также напалма, количество которого было сравнимо с примененным в Вьетнаме.
Then the Korean War hit the country, which, in Otter's opinion, was the most bloody and destructive war of the second half of the 20th century, claiming a total of 3 million victims, often a significant number of civilians. And although the so-called the Second African War claimed more victims, it did not have the threat of nuclear weapons, carpet bombing that destroyed most cities and government facilities, and napalm, the amount of which was comparable to that used in Vietnam.
Тем не менее, Северная Корея в короткие сроки восстановила промышленный потенциал, и Югу удалось обогнать Север по темпам экономического развития только во второй половине 70-х годов. Затем сердце Севера чуть не остановилось во время трудного похода, когда обрушившаяся на страну серия катастроф разрушила сельское хозяйство, вызвала энергетический кризис, нанесла удар по транспортной инфраструктуре, из-за чего сверхсмертность составила от 200 до 600 тысяч человек. На этом фоне подавляющее большинство западных экспертов утверждали, часы КНДР сочтены, в скором времени Ким Чен Ир не удержит власть и социалистический режим падет. Однако трудный поход стал символом не только великого бедствия, но и великого преодоления и духовного обновления.
Nevertheless, North Korea quickly restored its industrial potential, and the South managed to overtake the North in terms of economic development only in the second half of the 70s. It stopped only during the difficult campaign when a series of catastrophes that hit the country destroyed agriculture, caused an energy crisis, and hit the transport structure, due to which the excess death rate ranged from 200 to 600,000 people. Against this background, the vast majority of Western experts argued that the hours of the DPRK are numbered. Soon, Kim Jong-il will not retain power and the socialist regime will fall. However, the difficult campaign has become a symbol not only of the great disaster, but also of a great overcoming spiritual renewal.
Подобно антияпонским партизанам, которые в нечеловеческих условиях были способны не только выживать, но и наносить урон оккупантам, КНДР встала с колен. И как мы видим сегодня, благодаря действиям властей, сравнимые удары стихии наносят гораздо меньший ущерб. Мы видим, как северокорейские военные строители прославились тем, что в короткие сроки возвели десятки тысяч домов для тех, кто потерял кровь от удара тайфуна.
Like the anti-Japanese guerrillas, who in inhuman conditions were able not only to survive, but also to inflict damage on the invaders, the DPRK rose from its knees. And as we see today, thanks to the timely actions of the authorities, comparable natural disasters cause much less damage, which is promptly restored. More than once, North Korean military builders have gained fame in short time by erecting tens of thousands of houses for those who lost their homes from the impact of the typhoon.
Когда уважаемый товарищ Ким Чен Ын стал у власти, мы снова увидели экспертов, которые утверждали, что новый лидер либо потеряет власть из-за недостаточной подготовки, либо станет марионеткой своего окружения, либо пойдет по пути реформ горбачевского типа, которые приведут к системному кризису. Однако за 10 лет руководства председателя государственных дел товарища Ким Чен Ына Северная Корея совершила впечатляющий прорыв в экономическом развитии, внешней политике и военном строительстве.
The 2010s also proved to be a long time of testing. We again saw Western experts who argued that the new leader of the country would either lose power due to insufficient preparation or follow the path of Gorbachev type. Reforms that would lead to a systematic crisis. However, during the 10 years of leadership of Kim Jong-un, President of the State Affairs, has made impressive breakthroughs in economic development, foreign policy and military development.
Ядерный потенциал страны, ставший драгоценным мечом сдерживания, сделал Северную Корею не только не уступающим по своему потенциалу ядерному младшим членом Большой Пятерки, но и стал такой значимым событием, как встреча Ким Чен Ына и Дональда Трампа. Жесткий бизнесмен и заносчивый президент, который привык ломать своих партнеров и начал свое правление с жесткой риторики в адрес молодого лидера, сменил свое отношение на уважительное. И несмотря на отсутствие прогресса в отношениях двух стран, до конца президентства Дональда Трампа в своих письмах они сохраняли доверительный тон.
The country's nuclear potential, which has become a precious sword of deterrence, made North Korea not inferior in its nuclear deterrence potential and caused such a significant event as the meeting of Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump. A short businessman and arrogant president, accustomed to break his partners, who began to reign with a harsh rhetoric against the young leader, changed his attitude to respect. And despite the lack of progress in the relation between the two countries, until the end of Donald Trump's presidency, the letters maintained confidential tone in their letters. The leaders maintained confidential tone in their letters.
20-е годы стали периодом новых трудностей, когда к удушающим санкциям добавилась самоизоляция из-за глобального эпидемического кризиса COVID-19. На Западе стали мечтать о том, что от подобного сочетания закрытых границ Северная Корея рано или поздно надорвется, но и этот период сумели преодолеть. Вспышка лихорадки была сведена к нулю за 3 месяца, и сегодня противоэпидемические меры начинают ослабевать, так что скоро страна откроется для ученых, студентов и дипломатов.
The 2020s became a new period of difficulties when in addition to suffocating sanctions, the general level of which can be defined as without 5 minutes of embargo was added, self-isolation by the whole country. Due to the global epidemic crisis of COVID-19, the West again began to dream about that form such as isolation North Korea will sooner or later overstrain. But even this period was overcome. The fever outbreak was reduced to 0 in 3 months, and today we are seeing the first signs that anti-epidemic measures are beginning to weaken. And it is impossible that soon the country will open for our diplomats, science and students.
Мало какая страна могла выстоять перед такими ударами. Но когда человек является хозяином своей судьбы, он легко отражает их. Именно государство и устройство, созданное Ким Ир Сеном, продолженное Ким Чен Иром, развитое Ким Чен Ыном, стало главной причиной того, что уже 75 лет, вопреки ожиданиям Вашингтона и Сеула, Северная Корея продолжает существовать.
Few countries could withstand such blows of fate, but when a person is the master of his destiny, he repels such blows. It was a state system created by Kim Il-sung, continued by Kim Jong-il, and developed by Kim Jong-un that became the main reason why North Korea continues to exist for 75 years, contrary to the expectations of Washington and Seoul. Yes, the speech is closed, I think.
Right, thank you very much, Mr. Konstantin Asmolov, as a famous Russian international affairs expert, and I think his paper reflected the views of the International Solidarity Group with the DPRK. Now, if he's ready, I would call on Li Jizhing of the Chinese Executive Committee of the International Solidarity Group with the DPRK to deliver his paper. If you're ready, please.
Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. Тема моего доклада – достижения КНДР в области образования. Трудовая партия Кореи и правительство КНДР придают большое значение образованию в социалистическом строительстве, чтобы удовлетворить потребности социалистического экономического строительства. Они постоянно реформируют образование и создали систему образования для развития различных талантов, необходимых для социалистического строительства, что способствует развитию социалистического строительства Кореи. КНДР считает образование одним из фундаментальных вопросов, от которых зависит успех революции и будущая судьба нации. Вне зависимости от какой эпохи или какой национальности, без образования она не сможет добиться социального прогресса и национального процветания. Вопрос образования был понят как более важный вопрос в новых независимых странах, освободившихся от империалистического колониального порабощения. До освобождения Корея была японской колонией, и образование было очень отсталым, чтобы поддержать духовных рабов и задушить корейскую национальную культуру. Японские колонизаторы изо всех сил старались пропагандировать образование порабощения. В августе 1945 года Корея была освобождена Красной армией Советского Союза. В то время в северной части Корейского полуострова было всего 1000 начальных школ, 43 невольных средних школ, 3 технических средних школ и 6 педагогических институтов. Не было высших школ и университетов. Единственный университет – это Императорский университет Кэдзю, находится в южной части Корейского полуострова, в Сеуле. Было очень мало корейских интеллигентов и преподавателей. 65% детей школьного возраста не могут учиться в школе. И неграмотность составляет более 80% населения. После освобождения Кореи Временное правительство Северной Кореи начало устранять влияние японского колониального образования, порабощения, внедрило патриотическую демократическую линию образования и провело серию реформ старого образования, одновременно активно проводя кампанию движения за ликвидацию неграмотности. В декабре 1946 года Временный народный комитет Северной Кореи обнародовал положение о системе образования в учебных заведениях Северной Кореи, которое позволило корейскому народу впервые в истории своего образования создать полную систему образования от начальной школы до университета. В сентябре 1949 году Четвертое Верховное Народное Собрание Корейской Народно-Демократической Республики обнародовал декрет о всеобщем введении системы начального обязательного образования. Согласно этому декрету, с 1 сентября 1950 года обязательное начальное образование будет полностью введено во всех регионах Северной Кореи. И по состоянию на сентябрь 1949 года в северной части Корейского полуострова насчитывалось 3882 начальных школ и 926 неполных средних школ, 170 средних школ, 17 неполных технических школ и 55 средних технических училищ. Также создано 15 университетов к марту 1949 года. Неграмотность была практически ликвидирована в северной части Корейского полуострова. Во время Отечественной освободительной войны Трудовая партия Кореи и правительство КНДР перестроили работу преподавания в учебных заведениях и в тяжелых условиях, чтобы адаптировать учебную работу к системе военного времени. С одной стороны, правительство широко приняло образовательную форму учебных курсов, а с другой стороны, призывало народ всей страны участвовать в войне при ремонте взорванных школ, чтобы учащиеся, потерявшие свои учебные заведения, могли продолжать получать образование. В то же время также отправило большое количество студентов на учебу в Китай, Советский Союз и страны Восточной Европы, чтобы подготовиться к послевоенному восстановлению национальной экономики и к потребностям социалистического строительства. После перемирия национальная экономика Кореи остро нуждается в большом количестве научных талантов для восстановления и строительства. Товарищ Ким Ир Сен выдвинул основное направление в работе образования в своем докладе на центральном пленуме Трудовой партии Кореи в августе 1953 года. С этой целью Трудовая партия Кореи рекомендовала Верховному Народному собранию принять в 1955 году декрет о усилении технического образования. Согласно этому декрету, многие средние школы были преобразованы в технические училища. В апреле 1956 года Трудовая партия Кореи провела свой третий съезд. На этом съезде выдвинули задачу продолжить продвижение социалистической революции в течение 5-летнего плана. Осуществить сельскохозяйственную кооперацию и социалистическое преобразование частной промышленности и торговли. Великий товарищ Ким Ир Сен в докладе отметил, в настоящее время в учебных заведениях республики обучается 1942-2000 учащихся. Сейчас 4800 студентов учатся в различных университетах и технических колледжах Советского Союза, Китая и других народно-демократических странах. После войны в Корее было более 37 тысяч студентов, окончивших средние школы и различные технические школы. 6200 студентов закончили университет. Начальное всеобщее обязательное обучение было введено в 1956 году, и среднее всеобщее обязательное обучение было введено в 1958 году, а бесплатное всеобщее обязательное обучение было введено в 1959 году. По состоянию на конец пятилетнего плана в Северной Корее обучались 2,5 миллиона учащихся в более 8 тысяч учебных заведениях. Количество университетов увеличилось до 78, а количество студентов достигло более 97 тысяч. Так, в сентябре 2012 года шестой пленуме Верховного Народного собрания 12 созыва принял указ о введении 13-летнего всеобщего обязательного обучения. И этот указ законодательно гарантирует продвижение среднего общего образования на новую и более высокую степень, чтобы новое поколение КНДР могло пользоваться правом на образование на более высоком уровне. Эмблема Трудовой партии Кореи состоит из скрещенных серпа и молот с кистью. И бронзовая статуя Чорима, возвышающаяся в Пхеньяне, также является символом северокорейского духа. Всадник на Чориме поднимает книгу. И кисти, и книги являются символами знаний. Отсюда видно, что Кандер придает большое значение интеллигентам. Благодаря политике уважения и влияния интеллигенции, проводимой трудовой партией Кореи и правительством КНДР, многие интеллигенты перешли в Северную Корею из Южной Кореи. И из-за границы с патриотическими устремлениями и внесли бессмертные вклады в социалистическое строительство КНДР. Сейчас новые интеллигенты, эксперты и специалисты продолжают расти. Партия энергична, и республика процветает. В общем, КНДР подготовил большое количество научных и технических талантов и способствовал развитию социалистического строительства в соответствии с руководящими принципами трудовой партии Кореи и правительства КНДР. Практика Кореи доказала, что развитие образования в Северной Корее является стратегической задачей для развития национальной экономики и содействия социалистическому строительству. Нет сомнений о том, что их опыт и практика заслуживают изучения, а их достижения достойны похвалы. Мы твердо уверены в том, что под мудрым руководством великого товарища Ким Чен Ына и под могучим руководством Трудовой партии Кореи КНДР достигнет новых успехов в области образования. И Чуческая Корея непрерывно идет от победы к победе. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, I do the translation in English. So,
thank you.
Achievements of the DPRK in the field of education. The Workers' Party of Korea and the government of the DPRK attached great importance to education in socialist construction. To meet the needs of socialist economic construction, they are constantly reforming education and have established an education system to develop various talents needed for socialist construction. Thus, contribution to the development of Korea's socialist construction. The DPRK considers education as one of the fundamental issues on which the success of the revolution and the future destiny of the nation depend. No matter what area or what nationality, without education, it cannot achieve social progress and national prosperity. The issue of education has been raised as a more important issue in newly independent countries liberated from imperial colonial enslavement. Before liberation, Korea was a Japanese colony and education was very backward. In order to support spiritual slaves and stifle Korean national culture, the Japanese colonizers tried their best to promote enslavement education. In August 1945, Korea was liberated by the Red Army of the Soviet Union. At the time, there were only 1,000 elementary schools, 43 junior high schools, 3 technical high schools, and 6 teacher training institutes in the northern part of the Korean peninsula. There were no high schools and no universities. The only university, Kejo Imperial University, was in the southern part of the Korean peninsula in Seoul. There were very few Korean intellectuals and teachers. 65% of school-aged children could not attend school, and illiteracy was over 80% of the population. After the liberation of Korea, the Provisional Government of Korea began to remove the influence of Japanese colonial enslavement in education, introduced the patriotic democratic line of education, and carried out a series of reforms of the old education while actively campaigning for the literacy movement. In December 1946, the Provisional People's Committee of Korea promulgated the regulations of the education system of Korean educational institutions, which enabled the Korean people to establish a complete educational system from elementary school to university for the first time in their educational history. In September 1949, the Fourth Supreme People's Assembly of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea promulgated the decrees on the universalization of the compulsory primary education system. According to this decree, compulsory elementary education would be fully introduced in all regions of Korea on September 1st, 1950. Due to the outbreak of the Korean War, it was not included on time. As of September 1949, there were 3,882 elementary schools, 926 junior high schools, 170 high schools, 17 junior technical schools, and 55 secondary technical schools in the northern part of the Korean Peninsula. 15 universities were also established. By March 1949, illiteracy had been virtually eliminated in the northern part of the Korean Peninsula. During the Patriotic War of Liberation, the Workers' Party of Korea and the DPRK government restricted the teaching work in educational institutions under harsh conditions to adapt the teaching work to the wartime system. On the one hand, the government widely adopted the educational form of teaching courses, and on the other hand, called on the people of the whole country to participate in the war in repairing the bombed schools so that the students who lost their educational institutions could continue their education. At the same time, also sent a large number of students to study in China, the Soviet Union, and Eastern European countries to prepare for post-war reconstruction of the national economy and the needs of socialist construction. After the armistice, DPRK's national economy is in dire need of a large number of academic talents for reconstruction and construction. Comrade Kim Il-sung put forward the main thrust in the work of education in his report to the Central Plenum of the Workers' Party of Korea in August 1953, calling for concentrating efforts on strengthening higher and technical education as well as training a large number of ethnic cadres. To this end, the Workers' Party of Korea recommended the Supreme People's Assembly adopt the decrees on strengthening technical education in 1955. Under the decrees, many high schools were converted into technical schools. In April 1956, the Workers' Party of Korea held its third Congress. The Congress put forward to task continuing to advance the socialist revolution during the 5-year plan to carry out agricultural cooperation and the socialist transformation of private industry and commerce. Comrade Kim Il-sung said in his report, at present, 1,942,000 students are studying in the educational institutions of the Republic. Now 4,800 students are studying in various universities and technical colleges in the Soviet Union, the People's Republic of China, and other People's Democratic countries. After the war, there were more than 37,000 students who graduated from high schools and various technical colleges in the Republic, and 6,200 students graduated from universities. Primary universal compulsory education was introduced in 1956. Secondary universal compulsory education was introduced in November 1958. And free universal compulsory education was introduced in April 1959. At the end of the 5-year plan, Korea had 2.5 million students enrolled in over 8,000 institutions. The number of universities had increased to 78, and the number of students had reached over 97,000. Engineer specialists has reached over 970,000. Engineers, specialists, and technicians working in various sectors of the national economy, 133,000. In November 1966, the sixth plenum of the Third Supreme People's Assembly of Korea passed decrees that nine-year universal compulsory education would be introduced from April 1967. The number of universities increased from 78 to 129, and 376 new secondary technical schools were built. In July 1972, the fourth plenum of the Fifth Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea adopted a decree. 11-year universal compulsory education would be introduced from September 1972. In September 2012, the sixth plenum of the 12th Supreme People's Congress passed a decree to introduce 12 years of universal compulsory education. This decree legally guarantees the achievement of general secondary education to a new and higher level, so that the new generation of the DPRK can enjoy the right to education at a higher level. The emblem of the Workers' Party of Korea consists of a cross sickle and hammer with a brush. The bronze statue of Cholima in Pyongyang is also a symbol of the Korean spirit. The rider on Cholima is raising a book. Both brushes and books are symbols of knowledge. From this, it can be seen that the DPRK attaches great importance to intellectuals. Thanks to the policy of respecting and cherishing intellectuals pursued by the Workers' Party of Korea and the DPRK government, many intellectuals have crossed over the DPRK from South Korea and abroad with patriotic aspirations and made immortal contributions to the socialist construction of DPRK. Now the new intellectuals, experts, and specialists continue to rise. The party is vigorous and the Republic is prosperous. In sum, the DPRK has trained a large number of scientific and technical talents and promoted the development of socialist construction in accordance with the guiding principles of the Workers' Party of Korea and the DPRK government. The practice of Korea has proved that the development of education in Korea is strategic task of the development of the national economy and the promotion of socialist construction. There is no doubt that their experience and practices are worthy of study and their achievements are praiseworthy. We firmly believe that under the wise leadership of the great comrade Kim Jong-un and the mighty leadership of the Workers' Party of Korea, the DPRK will achieve new success in the field of education, and Juche Korea will continuously march victory from victory. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much for that interesting speech. I'll just quickly point out that, in fact, Korea was liberated by the Korean People's Revolutionary Army, led by President Kim Il-sung, which fought the anti-Japanese armed struggle for 15 years. And of course, you know, it was liberated in cooperation, of course, with Soviet troops. Anyway, I would call on Comrade Johannes Whitmund from the ISG to deliver his speech, to be followed by Tim Trendelkamp.
Thank you, Comrade Dermot. So today, dear comrades and friends of the DPRK, today we gather to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the foundation of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a glorious and momentous occasion which should be of high significance for the further existence of a sovereign Korean people. As a German, I feel honored by being allowed to participate and even make an own contribution in the form of a speech dedicated to this important event. As the leader of the European Executive Committee of the International Solidarity Group with the DPRK, I can confirm from own experience that the DPRK demonstrates real international solidarity by deeply engaging in people's diplomacy in the form of cultural exchange with organized socialists from all over the world, as well as pursuing diplomatic endeavors on the international state level. Since its founding 75 years ago, it has consistently advocated for a multipolar world order where nations, regardless of size, can coexist peacefully, free from hegemony and coercion. It is clearly observable that in these 75 years, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea has remained steadfast in its pursuit of a peaceful and just world order, expressing true international spirit without neglecting the necessary condition of preserving the national character in revolution and construction. It remained loyal to the principles even in the darkest times and ensured a dignified and sovereign future for the people by remaining faithful to the path of self-reliance, which was started by eternal President Kim Il-sung. Namely, this momentum became observable 3 decades ago with the fall of the bipolar hegemonic world order, when it was widely believed by many that soon the state of Juche would disintegrate and become a part of the new globalist world order created under the lead of the US imperialists. But unlike other socialist states, which failed not only because of the social question, but because of the national question, the DPRK created a socialism of national character, which allowed the excellencies of the Korean people's spirit to shine to the full extent. Studying the historical education materials, which are even published in German language and forwarded to us by the esteemed comrades of the DPRK embassy in Berlin, I was particularly impressed and impacted by the remarkable respectful honoring culture for their forefathers, which is intervened in the Korean identity. Thus, I am deeply convinced that the legacy of those who fought valiantly for the Korean liberation, may it be in war or at the workers' front, lives on in the very core of the Korean collective memory, so that their unwavering courage and resilience will continue to inspire them to build an even more bright future and help the Korean nation to remain a shining example for all progressive people in the world. The great comrade Kim Il-sung and comrade Kim Jong-il will always be with us, and the beloved Marshal Kim Jong-un will continue their work in highest dignity. Long live the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Thank you very much for your speech, very well delivered. And last speaker from the ISG is Tim Trendelkamp.
Yes,
Please go ahead, Tim.
Yes, I'm audible, yes? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great.
Yes.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me the word. I'm talking to you from Vladivostok, 100 kilometers away from North Korea, DPRK. Today I already was in the local restaurant, North Korean restaurant, great experience, just like in North Korea. I'm very happy to be here in the context of the Eastern Economic Forum. Yeah, I think we will have some great results here in the area of cooperation between Russia, China, DPRK, and also, of course, European countries. Yes, please allow me to read out my speech. It's a great honor for me. Yeah. Dear Korean friends and comrades, I wholeheartedly congratulate the Korean people on the occasion of the 75th anniversary of the foundation of the Democratic People's Republic. I have had the honor to support the path of the DPRK since the year 2017, when I visited the homeland of the Juche Idea for the first time. I decided to support your country because I became friends with students from the DPRK who also studied at Peking University in China, where I studied as well. Since this time, my love for your country has only increased. My second visit took place in the year 2019. It is the most heroic feat of the people of the DPRK and their leaders to preserve the sovereignty of the Korean people against the huge imperialist ambitions of different countries. The great leader Kim Il-sung defended the Korean people against the imperialist ambitions of Japan, but also prevented the Korean people from becoming a tool and servant of the Soviet Union. Kim Il-sung preserved the independence of the DPRK against the forces of globalism, which are sponsored foremost by the United States. The forces of globalism became very powerful and influential after the end of the Cold War, when the Soviet Union collapsed. Today, the great comrade Kim Jong-un is continuing the struggle against the ideas of imperialism and globalism with full force. The Korean people, who are inspired by the Juche philosophy, have written the glorious story of 75 years of victory against all odds. Nobody would have expected the Korean people to win against the Japanese imperialists, but the victory of the Korean people became reality. Nobody would have expected the Korean people to maintain the Juche state after the collapse of the Soviet Union, but the DPRK exists in full and life and enthusiasm until this day. And the Korean people will continue to disprove any pessimistic prediction. According to my opinion, the core decisive difference between the socialism of the Soviet Union and the Korean Juche philosophy is the following. The Soviet Union was a very abstract country which was constructed out of many nationalities. The DPRK, on the other hand, is consisting out of the family of one single nationality. The Korean people share a common destiny since the age of Tangun. It is very natural for them to live together in socialism as one family, with the leader as their father. Also, after the death of Stalin, the Soviet Union did not believe anymore in the truth of the socialist idea and lost the trust of their leaders. The DPRK never lost the burning love for their leader and for the idea of socialism. Because of these reasons, I'm convinced that the DPRK will be victorious, not only in the next 75 years to come, but the DPRK will even be victorious in the next 1,000 years, if the Korean people preserve their love for their leader, for the true socialism of the Juche idea, for their national heritage, for Tangun, for their common blood and history. The Korean people must fanatically believe in the success of their nation, in the righteousness of their socialist cause. They must preserve the national culture and they must feel immense pride because of their ancient history. I'm convinced that the Korean people are more than justified to feel endless optimism. The Juche philosophy of independence and sovereignty is most certainly, is most certainly representing the truth. And the path of world history is leading towards the great victory of the DPRK. The evil globalists of the US and other globalist organizations will surely soon find their political and philosophical demise. Dear Korean friends, I want you to feel endless pride and optimism. You are true heroes of world history for preserving the idea of sovereignty and independence. I hope soon my German fatherland will be free as well, just as you. The US and all other imperialists must perish. Just as the Korean people, the German people have an ancient history. Since the time of Arminius, defeated the armies of the Roman imperialists in the Teutoburg forest. Just as the Koreans, we will preserve our nation and our sovereignty with the help of the immortal Juche philosophy. I wish any Korean friend reading this message health, happiness, and well-being. What a wonderful struggle you are fighting. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your speech. That concludes the speeches from the International Solidarity Group, which is, of course, a different organisation to our Korean Friendship Association. And as I say, we have, you know, a number of different organisations represented here. You know, there may be there may be differences of opinion, but we are all united in our supports for people's career, and we support the socialist system and the independence of the DPRK. We're starting to sort of conclude the meeting, but please stay around. I'm just going to read some poetry out, and then if comrades from KFA Germany are ready, we're going to see some short films and hopefully a bit of the excellent Worker Peasant Red Guard parade. And the first poem is from our KFA official delegate in Nepal, Bipindra Bishawokrama, and it is titled Deep Respect to the Heroic Korean People's Army. Very happy founding day, Army of the Juche Road. Very happy birthday, Army of the socialist world. You are devoted martyrs' fountain. You are the hero on this living planet. You are the strongest, most scientific. You can defeat all kind of imperialists. Living in the heart of all working class, blooming in the soul of universal mass. Love is boundless for the fatherland. Revolutionary army, Earth's first in rank. World is jealous, seeing your might. Land and ocean making sky bright. You are the red sun, core of the world. You are the hope of winter and cold. Sky became smoky for many years. You got victorious without death fears. There are lots of our common enemies. I also want to serve as Korean Army. I have never found just like the Korean Army, patriotic, devoted and civilized and lovely. I have great support, dear Korean Army. I always praise you, my heartbeat army. Deep respect to you from my side. I will be with you in the justice fight. Best wishes to you from Nepal country. Like millions of years, Korean People's Army, live until the earth exists, invincible army. And that was written by our KFA official delegate in Nepal. And we now have two poems written by our KFA UK organisation secretary, Comrade Alan Bollen, who's also head of KFA UK West of England and editor of People's Career Today. And the first poem is called Echoes of Revolution, and it is Echoes of Revolution. From the echoes of centuries, bloody struggle and battle, a great spurt of revolutionary spirit, born of suffering and oppression of the Japanese oppressors under past colonial yoke. It screams with the voice, innocent women and children, all killed Korean people of noble and great invincible souls. In the mirror of the lakes, the Pakdu Mountains, in the singing of birds in the forest of the Kim Il-sung's guerrilla camps and the places of his, carved the memory of the fight forever, words whispered by a young Korean woman in tears when she was dying under the shoe of the Japanese torturer. It's nothing that pain and death will come. It's nothing that will come to die. The spirit of freedom will triumph one day. Liberation will come. Down to the Japanese occupiers, Korea wins. Together with whisper of ice water drops, flowing in the rays of the rising sun, the rocks of Mount Paktu glow of majesty, reflects the pride and strength of Juche Idea power, enchanted in the unlimited strength of Songam, which sings the march of KPA troops, proclaims glory and militancy, which they always carry in their hearts, radiating all over the world, breaking the shackles of imperialism. And the next poem is called Homeland, and I'll read it. Homeland, where the magnolia blossom blooms, there where mountains, rivers and streams set the turbines, steel in electric work, where rice fields and golden grains, collective care and joint work, agricultural farms and tractors were, where the proud tower shoots the eternal flame of Juche revolution into the sky, and in the sun of the day, the joy and smile of youth and happiness of work, life and devotion for Choson. There in my heart, full of patriotism and love for the people's motherland, Korea of Juche. And that was the other poem. And now, if if KFA Germany are ready with the videos, if we could have the first one, please. Excellent.
The past 4 years were the days of worst adversities, threatening the existence and development of the Korean people every moment. The suffocation movements of the hostile forces were further intensified, and natural disasters lasted for years. To crown all, World Health Crisis, unprecedented in history, broke out in 2020. In the extreme difficulty, the Workers' Party of Korea and the government of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea held the banner of the Juche Idea higher. They regarded the people as the god and ushered in a new era of the overall development of socialism by depending on their strength. The emergency anti-epidemic work was regarded as the most important of the state affairs. In order to thoroughly defend the security of the state and the lives of the people, super-level epidemic prevention measures expecting tremendous economic loss and sacrifice were taken, such as the complete blockade of the border and territorial air and waters. Major meetings of the Workers' Party of Korea were held on more than 10 occasions in 2020 alone as regards the emergency anti-epidemic work. An unprecedented miracle was wrought in the anti-epidemic work, which intercepted the inroads of the malignant virus for 2 years and 3 months. The 8th Politburo meeting of the 8th Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea was urgently called on May the 12th, 2022, which was followed by the consultative meetings of the Political Bureau of the Party Central Committee held on the 14th and the 15th. The respected comrade Kim Jong-un commanded the anti-epidemic campaign with his superhuman energy and fervent love and devotion. His image was a hope and a source of confidence for the people. Medics of the Korean People's Army were committed to stabilize the supply of medicines in the capital city immediately. The people turned out as one. They support the anti-epidemic policy of the party and the government in perfect unity, and virtues and affection could be felt everywhere. The goal of making the whole country a clean virus-free zone was attained in 91 days after the start of the emergency anti-epidemic struggle. The foundations of the anti-epidemic work and public health sector of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea were weak, and we were inexperienced in this work, and this country was not vaccinated even once. But Korea wrought another miracle in the anti-epidemic work even the developed countries had failed to do, and brought about a new change in building the anti-epidemic capacity of the state. It was a great victory in the anti-epidemic work brought by the political creed of the Workers' Party of Korea and the government that the people's lives cannot be bartered for anything, and when the people are in good health, there can be the party, the state, and everything on this land. It was an unheard of extreme difficulty to keep the normal life despite the global health crisis. But we advanced toward higher goals. The 8th Congress of the Workers' Party of Korea and the plenary meetings and Politburo meetings of the Party Central Committee present a timely and superb orientation, goals and ways for the overall development of socialism on the basis of the most scientific and accurate analysis of the reality. The decisions were adopted at the party meetings with the demand and interests of the people as the starting point, and their inexhaustible creativity as the fundamental motive force, which led the DPRK to a constant development and leap forward. Providing the working people gratis with houses built at the state expense is in fact based on huge economic loss. For the Workers' Party of Korea and the government, however, it was the most important task which can never be neglected or indifferent to even a moment to solve the housing problem of the people. This is Songhwa Street, the first entity of the construction of 50,000 flats in Pyongyang City, presented at the 8th Congress of the Workers' Party of Korea. A luxury residential district for ordinary working people was built here, where there had been the residence of the great leader Kim Il-sung, the author of the Juche Idea and founder of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. A model district of modern city, which is 3 times as large as Songhwa Street, was built even in the great turmoil of inroads of malignant virus since the founding of the country. Samjian City at the foot of Mount Baekdu, the sacred mountain of revolution, was completely changed as a model of local town construction. It is the most important goal of the program of rural revolution of the Workers' Party of Korea to put all the rural villages across the country on the level of those in Samjian City and make them rich and modern socialist utopia. The countryside has been changed beyond recognition. New beautiful villages have been built everywhere in this country, boasting of new civilization, and the news of people's moving into new houses is reported by mass media almost every day. Blowing is the hot wind of scientific farming. Extensive irrigation projects have been carried out across the country, providing a firm guarantee for agricultural irrigation. Those results were brought by the policy of the Workers' Party of Korea, that wants to liquidate the backwardness of the countryside and provide the peasants with a civilized and happy life as early as possible. The world's leading large-scale greenhouse farm was built in over 230 days. The large-scale greenhouse farm was built in the Ryunpo area of South Hamgyong province, once the site of an air base, forming a large farm area which intensively shows the modern civilization. The Workers' Party of Korea unfolded the blueprint of change to build a large-scale greenhouse farm like the Ryunpo greenhouse farm in every province, and thus make a substantial contribution to improving the people's well-being and change our lives. This is Kinghwa County of Gangwon Province, once a barren mountain county. The county suffered huge damage by disastrous downpour and flood in August 2020, but it has been changed into a symbol of development of local industry and into a model county all the cities and counties should follow. Such a change could be made by the deep love of the Workers' Party of Korea that intends to bring about remarkable changes in the village and region with difficult living conditions first, and thus effect a fundamental change in the improvement of the people's living. The slogan, "Long live the Workers' Party of Korea," reflects the boundless thanks of the local people to the Workers' Party of Korea, which is making selfless, devoted efforts for the good of the people, and their faith to follow the party to the end. The faces of the children have become brighter. Now that gigantic undertakings for the overall development of socialism are done, fund is more precious than ever before, but enormous investment is unsparingly made in the work for the rising generations. A system has been established to supply all the children across the country with dairy products and other nourishing foods free of charge, and on a regular basis every day, and provide the best conditions for bringing them up. It is one of the most tangible changes in the life of the Korean people. It is a precious result brought by the child care policy of the Workers' Party of Korea, adopted for the country in coming 20 to 30 years, though difficult. It has become the eternal state policy of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea to supply new school uniforms and things to all the school children and students, while the state bears most of the expenses in any conditions. Remarkable. It has become the eternal state policy of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea to supply new school uniforms and things to all the school children and students, while the state bears most of the expenses in any conditions. Remarkable successes have been made in realizing the economic strategy for consolidating the foundations for independent economy and putting our economy on the normal track, which is smoothly run despite any external influence. The Korean people have kept deeper in their hearts the faith that self-reliance is the only way to prosperity. The party and state policy to make the entire people powerful creative beings was more powerfully promoted. the great aim and ideal of the Workers' Party of Korea to usher in a new efflorescence of socialist culture and thus lead the people to civilization of Korean style in the new century have brought model entities of Korean style civilization. The national defense capability has been steadily strengthened along the new orbit of development. The war deterrent has been put on the highest plane, which can completely contain the enemy and firmly defend the peace of the Korean Peninsula and the region. The military parade held on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the victory in the Fatherland Liberation War shows the true feature of our national defense capability, making a rapid progress. Not everybody can make a leap forward and changes in the most difficult conditions and grave situation defying the destiny of a country and nation. Under the leadership of the party and the government, however, the Korean people made the greatest success, which cannot be expressed otherwise than a miracle despite the worst conditions, with a timetable of history in their hands. They ushered in a new great era, the new era of the overall development of socialism. Indeed, the past 4 years were those days which confirmed once again the truthfulness and great vitality of the Juche idea, the eternal guiding ideology of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Greeting the 75th founding anniversary of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the Korean people write in the history of the country the truth that the cause of Juche will surely win despite any tempest, as long as there are the great leader, the great party, and the great state that are intensely loyal to the people and open a new era of history relying on them, and the great people faithful to them.
Right, thank you very much. And yeah, apologies to KFA Croatia. If you're ready, please go ahead and read your poem, and then we're taking the second video clip, which is much shorter.
Thank you, Comrade Hudson. It's an easy mistake to make if I'm the only one reading my own poem. Thank you for reading the other KFA branches submissions. So the poem I have in front of me is the one that I actually submitted during the recent 70-year anniversary of the victory in the Great Fatherland Liberation War. And I think everyone recognizes that the victory of the Free Flames refers to the three classes that are represented in the flag of the Workers' Party of Korea. So, victory of the Free Flames. The oldest burns the flame that bears a special fame. It provides wheat so that people could eat. From the days of sickles to those of tractors, in the peasant's labor found its source. The second flame can be found in a factory. With toil he gains his mastery. Through suffering like from Naraka he gains glamour. Those once up are now down, bowing to the will of the hammer. Technologies change and so do regimes. Sooner or later, work replaces market schemes. The third flame comes from the mind. It's put forth by the someone. Independence, creativity, and consciousness are his find, if its purity is one. It is nurtured by intellectuals. Action is necessary, but so are all kinds of professionals. For 70 years, the three flames into a single one form, coming together into a torch as a signal to set a norm. In an honest people's heart they burn, yet scorch only the imperialist in turn. So I hope I was audible, you heard me well, and I have to leave now. So thank you for all your speeches and for having me here.
Well, thank you very much for that wonderful poem. I think it was a very good poem. We must increase our cultural work, more sort of poetry readings, film nights, and so on. And I also thank you for your speech. Thank you very much. And if we can now see the second video clip I suggested, and then if we can perhaps see 5 minutes of the parade, and then I think Constantine has got some music he wants to play.
조선민주주의 인민공화국. 불로 숭엄한 그 이름과 더불어 가장 위대하고 성스러운 75년사가 찬연한 빛을 뿌리고 있습니다. 1948년 9월 9일, 2023년 9월 9일.
여러분 안녕하십니까?
여러분 안녕하십니까?
해마다 맞고 보내는 우리의 9월입니다.
비상이 높아지는 위대한 우리 국가의 전원과 국력으로 해서 이날을 맞이하는 우리 인민의
바로 여기가 우리나라의 국기가 처음으로
저주와 정의 진리를 지켜 추호의 흔들림 없었고, 오늘은 전면적 부흥과 발전의 새 시대를 떠올치는 위대한 강국의 국민들이 어머니 조국의 탄생 75돌을 경축하고 있습니다. 위대한 우리 국가를 위하여 불덩이 같은 이 말로 심장을 끓이며 이 나라의 남녀로서 모두가 9월의 하늘가에 국기를 띄웁니다. 한국의 첫삽을 박은 손으로 조국을 지켜낸 전승세대들과 진함없을 땀과 열정으로 국왕 조국의 억센 뿌리가 되어준 애국 공로자들, 자존과 번영의 새 시대, 우리 국가 제1주의 시대를 떠올린 국민들 모두가 위대한 역사의 창조자, 영예로운 승리자로 불멸의 군성처럼 빛나는 시각입니다.
지금 김일성 광장 초대석과 관람석에는 전국 각지에서 온 공화국 창건 75돌 경축 행사 대표들과 애국 공로자들, 노력 혁신자들이 자리를 잡고 있습니다. 잠시 후 김일성 광장에서는 조선민주주의 인민공화국 창건 75돌 경축 민방위 무력 열병식이 진행되게 됩니다. 이번 열병식에는 수도당원 사단 종대를 비롯하여 민방위 무력의 기본 구성을 이루는 노동계급과 농민, 사무원, 청년 학생들로 무어진 30개의 도보종대들과 6개의 기계화 종대들, 열병 비행 종대가 참가했습니다. 71번째 전승절을 경축하던 열병의 미야기가 지금도 귓전에 쟁쟁한 이곳에서 40여일 만에 또다시 민방위 무력 열병식이 도행되는 것은 끊임없이 전진하는 우리 국가 우리 인민의 필승의 힘과 기상을 다시 한번 만천하에 시위하는 정쾌한 화폭으로 될 것입니다.
지금 광장 전광판에는 뜻깊은 공화국 창건절의 경축 분위기를 한껏 돋궈주게 될 낙하산 선수들이 열병 광장으로 떠나기 위해 직승기에 탑승하는 모습이 비춰지고 있습니다. 야간 10인조용 강화 기교 동작은 보기 드문 난도 높은 동작입니다. 낙하산 선수들이 김일성 광장 4,700m 상공에서 리탈했습니다. 먼저 5명의 낙하산 선수들이 5인조 원태형을 짓고 직승기에서 리탈했습니다. 연이어 5명의 낙하산 선수들이 개별적으로 리탈하면서 5인조 원태형에 1명씩 접근하여 10인조 원태형을 짓고 있습니다. 드디어 고도 3,500m에서 10인조 원태형이 완성됐습니다. 한 명의 낙하산 선수가 직경 3.2m인 10인조 원태형의 중심을 초당 70m의 속도로 멋지게 통과했습니다. 원태형을 지었던 낙하산 선수들이 산계하여 라선 강화를 진행하고 있습니다. 경축의 광장에 환희의 불보라를 터치며 강화하는 미덥고 용감한 낙하산 선수들에게 전체 관람자들과 수도 시민들이 열광적인 환호를 보내고 있습니다. 지금 고도 1,400m 상공에서 리탈한 낙하산 선수가 대형 공화국기를 날리며 강화하고 있습니다. 아름다운 조국의 모습이 환희롭게 안겨옵니다. 저 멀리 그 물결 설레이는 드넓은 천야, 농촌 진흥의 새 역사 속에 가는 곳마다 일떠서는 희한한 살림집들, 미훈과 혁신으로 들끓는 창조와 건설의 저녁들, 우리 국가의 위대한 전변의 새 모습을 가슴 벅차게 안아보며 경축의 하늘을 날아내리는 낙하산 선수들. 우리 공화국의 승리와 영광의 상징인 라몽색 국기가 강국의 하늘가에 휘날립니다. 이 나라 국민들의 애국의 열기로 9월의 하늘은 그리도 높고 그 하늘에 빛나는 우리 공화국의 존엄과 위상이어서 공화국기를 우러러 광장의 관중들은 저렇듯 격정의 환호를 터치는 것 아니겠습니까? 경축의 이 밤 항공체육 명수들이 뜻깊은 열병 광장의 밤하늘가에 라몽색 국기를 자랑스럽게 휘날리며 김일성 광장 중심으로 정확히 착지하고 있습니다. 어머니 조국의 장한 아들들인 영감한 낙하산 선수들을 경축 대표들과 수도 시민들이 열광적으로 환호하며 뜨겁게 맞이하고 있습니다. 뜻깊은 경축의 이 시각에도 조국의 평생을 굳건히 지켜선 우리의 인민군 용사들이 어머니 조국의 생일에 드리는 다함없는 경의와 축하이란가. 지금 숫자 75를 형성한 비행기 편대가 광장 상공을 날고 있습니다. 저 비행운 속에 존엄 높은 공화국의 위상이 오려와서인가. 우러르는 눈곱들의 뜨거운 경랑이 일어번집니다.
조선민주주의 인민공화국 창건 75돌을 경축하는 종합군악대의 리식이 시작되었습니다. 기백 있는 선율과 역동적인 리듬, 다양한 대형 변화들로 우리 공화국이 걸어온 성스러운 75년의 빛나는 여정을 집약적으로 웅변적으로 펼쳐 보이고 있습니다. 지금 활달한 대형 변화로 새겨지는 숫자는 성스러운 국호의 인민이라는 부름을 정의 새기어 그 탄생부터가 위대했던 건국의 첫 기술에 대한 감이 깊은 추억을 불러주고 있습니다. (1948년 9월 9일) 이날은 결코 한나라 한국가의 탄생만을 의미하지 않았습니다. 짓밟히고 천대받던 약소국의 인민이 자주독립국가의 당당한 주인으로 시대 앞에 나선 역사의 날이었습니다. 위대한 수령을 모시고 정의와 진리로 굳게 뭉친 새나라 새조선이 강국에로 향한 고고성을 터치고 첫 자욱을 내뻗친 날이었습니다. (1975) 이는 자력갱생의 정신, 견인불발의 의지가 없이는 단 한 걸음도 내짚을 수 없었던 강국에로의 여정. 그 길에 우리의 삶과 존엄이 있기에 샘물에도 총대에도 자주의 넋을 심으며 구람없이 걸어왔습니다. 주체의 녹수로 위대한 인민을 키워 조선의 존엄을 누리에 떨쳐준 어머니 당에 드리는 가장 뜨거운 감사가 문학대의 힘찬 선율에 실려 경축의 하늘가에 울려 퍼지고 있습니다. 앞살의 역풍이 몰아칠수록 자력자강의 기치를 더 높이 지켜들고 자주 자립 자위의 기둥을 억척같이 박으며 본영의 활로를 힘차게 열어왔기에 마침내 강국의 용예를 쟁취할 수 있었음을 새겨주며 조선인민군 영예위병대 무기기교조가 난도 높은 기교 동작으로 오늘의 군함대
Right, thank you very much, Comrade Dominic from KFA Germany, for streaming that clip. Unfortunately, we're starting to run out of time, so we couldn't watch more. But perhaps if you'd like to put the link in the chat so people can watch it later at their leisure. And we're just going to have one short piece of music that Constantine, KFA Greece, is going to stream, and then I will make very brief concluding remarks, and that the meeting will conclude because we've gone on a bit longer than we meant to have done. So if you're ready now, Constantine.
Yes, just to be sure, let me know if you can hear.
Yes.
I'm not able to share my screen because it says the host disabled participant screen sharing. So if you could please take a look on that, or I can send you the link if you like.
Well, if you put the link in the chat, maybe they can share.
Yes, because participants can't share the screen. So maybe if I do this, that might help. If someone can do it.
Okay. Right, are we ready to stream? All right, great. Right, thank you very much. Thank you, Constantine, and thank you, Dominic. I'm going to conclude the meeting now. I think special thanks should go to those people who've stayed to the end. But in particular, I would first of all thank KFA Germany for their kind assistance because they've let us use their Zoom account. Which has made this meeting possible, and the meeting we had last week also possible. And also Comrade Dominic for his assistance during this meeting, you know, taking time out to assist with the meeting. And I'd also like to thank all participants in the meeting, everyone for their speeches that they've read out, and everyone who sent in speeches. These are on the website of the European Regional Preparatory Committee for the 75th anniversary of the DPRK. I think we've managed to get through quite a lot of speeches today, and people have had the opportunity to you know, participate. And we've heard wide and varied viewpoints, but all with one theme of defending people's Korea and expressing solidarity with the Korean people in their fight for independence and socialism, and solidarity on the occasion of the 75th anniversary of the DPRK. And I think the message coming out of a lot of the papers was that we need to intensify our solidarity work. We need to defeat the lies against the DPRK that come from the mainstream media in the capitalist countries and sometimes some other sources, and particularly from that scurrilous organ NK News, which is a creation of the CIA, which you know, spreads a lot of disinformation about People's Korea, and KFA as well. So you know, we need to redouble our efforts and hold more meetings like this. I mean, I'm quite pleased with the success. You know, at one point I think we had 27 people on the call, and this morning the other the international seminar didn't have that that many more people than we've had you know, today. So I think we've done well. So you know, salute everyone, and it remains for me to again congratulate the Korean people and respected Marshal Kim Jong-un and the Workers' Party Korea on the 75th anniversary of the DPRK. May they see many more anniversaries, and I'm sure they will, because Juche-based socialism is the most durable-based socialism, and may they also march on to reunification. May one day we see again the flag of the DPRK with its red star fly over Seoul, over Busan, Daegu, Daejeon, and Mount Halla. Long live People's Korea, and thank you everyone for being at this meeting today and for your efforts. I'm now closing the meeting, and there will be reports of the meeting issued. Thank you very much, comrades. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Manse, long live People's Korea.
Manse.
Manse.
Yeah, long live